volunteers, we have 47 groups. I was really hoping to get up to 50. There's 3 or more out there that I was bugging to get, come on, get your registration in. But anyway, 47 is still quite amazing when you think about it. 37 in Metro Vancouver, 5 in the Okanagan, 2 in Victoria, and 1 in Prince George. And they range everything. Now, when we say organizations and groups, really it could be a group that's been around for a long time, like the ISSC, or it could be a Facebook group that started a year ago. So it's a combination, but all of them support the Irish community. They're all non-profit, mostly non-profits, but they're all community or the culture, advancing the culture and heritage of the Irish in BC. And just a couple of points, we didn't pull all the data from the surveys because some of it really wasn't very relevant, but there's, numbers of members from 2 to 23,000. The one that has 23,000 is the Irish in Vancouver Facebook page. So, but that's an open page that anyone can register for. The majority of groups welcome all ages. We checked, we did a survey on what age groups are part of your membership. And of course, most of them do all ages. There were very few that sort of targeted seniors or targeted young people specifically. And then 15% of them serve all of BC, and the majority of them, because that's the majority of the groups we have, of course serve Metro Vancouver, all of Metro Vancouver. So this is an interesting grid to look at. You look at this is we asked everybody when you started, roughly. If some people didn't really know exactly, but they guessed. But you can see that in the 70s we had 3 groups, and that was ISSC, Prince George Group, and the Stewart School of Dance, who are here tonight too. So they go back to the 70s, and then we picked up a few more in the 80s and 90s, and then we hit the 2000s, and then we hit 2010 plus. You can see that 17 groups in the past 9 years have been formed. So even if we don't know how many Irish are exactly here, that alone sort of speaks to the numbers of people that are here. And since 2018, as you can see, there's 8 groups have been formed. 6 last year. Castilla School of Dance is in Penticton, and the other 5 of those are all in Vancouver. And then in 2019, we have Cuchulainn GAA team and the Van Isle GAA, who are on the island. They're just getting formed. And in fact, we now have, they're not registered yet, but we now have a 6th GAA team in Vancouver. So we've gone from 1, and then we now have 6 teams. So that again shows the growth of and the numbers of people here. This is the breakup down of the groups. When you signed up, you allocated your organization into a group. We may have moved it a bit, so don't be upset with us when you see your group on the website. But we can move them around. We kind of, as we were doing the mapping, they fit into, they were tighter. We needed to make tighter groups, and we moved people around based on what we felt was a better group for them. So, but we can always move you back. So don't be upset if you say, oh, well, I should be in this group and not that group. So we can move you around. But we have, you can see dance and sport are the largest groups with 10 people, or 10 groups, and then it goes, works its way down in the various, so 7 social, 7 music, language and film is 3, information is 3, and health and wellness, which is darkness into light. So we have them registered as there. So that's the breakdown of that. And just on the events, we had per year people do. There's a total number of 1,300, events a year, which is quite substantial. That's regularly scheduled is over 1,000, and of course that would be games and matches and dance things. But still, it's a substantial number of events, and then the ad hoc ones is 300. So there's a lot of activity in this community. And then volunteers, we just put this up too, as well as we 30% don't use volunteers, and of the 70 that do, the majority run it on a small number. You can see that the percentage that use, of the 70% that use volunteers, 79 do it on between 1 to 24 volunteers, and then larger groups, slightly the 25 to 50, 21% use volunteers. So they were the stats that we pulled out of the community registrations, and so now we are into, where's my wonderful techie? Thank you, Leanne. So we're going to show you the website and we'll walk you through this very quickly. It's live now. If you had gone before, you wouldn't have seen it. So here's the website. We have a panel of photographs there. If some of you remember, we asked for photographs from your groups. Some we got, some we didn't, some we borrowed, some we stole. So some people provided them in high res. Some as I said, I took. So I wanted to put a selection. There's only 8 up here. If your group is not up here, don't worry. We will rotate these out. So if you want to get us, some people didn't have really good photos to share. So that, and that's the Okanagan group. I wanted to make sure they were in. This is the winning team, the ladies football team from ISSC. So you'll see it, and not a great picture of us was the only one we had, so we were getting up. That was going up there. So if you can scroll down, Leanne. And so on the front page here, actually if you go all the way down, so the footer there of course has, the Consulate, the Irish Women's Network, and we have an acknowledgement of the territories that we're on in all of BC, a statement about that. Community groups we have, and then the people of Irish heritage in BC, we have a counter there that shows you that the 675,000 people in BC claim Irish heritage. So that's quite a lot. So that shows us a lot of people with interest in BC. Now, the numbers of Irish born are far smaller, but we'll get into that. So if you can scroll back up again, up at the top, the About column, the About page, just to walk you through that. Yeah. That's just acknowledgements and a wonderful message from the Consul General. So that's just explaining, because when you're in a project like this, you think everybody knows about it, but actually no, people coming to this website will want to know what it's about. So it's like, oh yeah, we should really tell them, new people who are coming to the website, what this is about. So hopefully this does work. The community groups page. So when you come onto this page, you will see the 4 infographics that I just showed you there on this website. So if you want to use them, you're welcome. Feel free to scroll down and back up again. And also anybody who wants to register can still register here. We won't click into that, but just they will. Thank you. Yes. She's really good. And then click on the map if you don't mind, Leanne. So this will lead us in. So this is where everybody's registered. So you can see the community groups on the other side, and if you want to, and this is of course BC. If you want to pick one there, Leanne. So if you click on one, then you get a short introduction, and then their contact, whatever the website is or the Facebook page. And as you can see on the map, the little it's circled by white, so you know exactly where. And then you can play around with this map. You can zoom in, zoom out, any way you want, and you can see where people are placed. So the groups are all listed. There's Victoria, Irish and Victoria, BC. So this is where if somebody's coming to find a group, or they want to know who's in their area, they can find it. If you don't mind going back just to the main page. Yeah, no, not to. Yeah, sorry, I meant to the list. Thank you. So if you want to scroll down, so we've got culture and heritage, music, dance, information, social, sport, language and film, and health and wellness. And as I said, if your group is listed somewhere that you think it doesn't work, come and talk to me afterwards. Very easy to change. And this is super easy to plug in new people. So as soon as new people register, we can get them in immediately. And that's what we want to do. So by promoting this website, hopefully others will come and register. And if we can go back to the home page, thanks. And then the numbers of Irish, this one. Okay, so, so how many of us are there in BC? Well, this is the problem. It's a hard question because the census says that there is 5,890 people born in Ireland. in BC. So compared to the 675,000 people of Irish heritage. So there's but of course we know that the problem is that we can't get stats at the moment on the PR, the people who are here that wouldn't have been here at 2016, on the PR or the visas, because if they land, movement within Canada is not tracked. So if somebody comes and arrives in and lands in Newfoundland or lands in Toronto and comes ahead, we don't know that they're here. So it's an estimate, the consulate, and we've talked about this, and there's an estimate of about 10 to 12,000 people, Irish people in BC. That's what we estimate. That sort of fluctuates, of course, with the summer students, all of whom have gone home now, but they, when they're here, there's we all know, there's quite a group of them. The stats that are here are from the embassy, and this is just interesting. I thought this was fascinating to see that the number of Irish entering Canada via BC in 2018 was 21,000. Now, they could be, I didn't manage to get in touch with Laura to specify whether that we feel that they're just people coming in, landing. They could be tourists, but it actually also speaks to the popularity of the direct flight, which I know we'd all love to have all year round, right? So that's one of the things that came up on the survey. Yes, we all want the year-round flight. So instead of just May to October. So these numbers actually hopefully will work in our benefit. And yeah, between 2009 to 2018, 71% of an increase. So that's quite an increase, of course, because they're coming directly here. If you scroll down, Leanne, please, to the census. So we've mapped the census figures. So you can go in on this map and play around with it and look where you are. This is all the people who registered in the census for as Irish heritage. So if you click on any spot, yeah, perfect. So you'll see, if you click on it, it should expand out. There we go. So you can move the map around, find your neighborhood, see where people are. The graph is down there. The darker the green, the more Irish people of Irish heritage. So it's interesting. There's some weird places, sort of out in Golden Ears Park. There's like lots of Irish. I don't know what they're all doing out there, but anyway, anyway. So the census says. So anyway, so it's fun to play around with it, and this is what, when in a few years when we get a new census data, hopefully more will be tracked, and we'll have even darker patches of Irish or green on this map. But anyway, you can go on the website and play around with this. All the information is in there. And then at the bottom of this page are the Irish born. And then this again is just a fun graphic to play around with. It comes from Census Canada. And if you click on the purple one, the place of birth, and so it brings you into their page, and you can put in any place of birth on the left, over on the left-hand side. So you'd put in, it'll show you, you'll find Ireland. You can do it for any country. But if for Ireland, it's all the way down, and then place of residence, and then the admission category and the period of immigration. So this is where the 5,890 people come from. So they're the figures. I mean, the challenge has been to get figures that are not in the census. We're still working on that. We're working with the consulate and the embassy to try and narrow down some of the figures. PR, if you go to the Irish Canadian Immigration Centre website, Kathy Murphy has some stats up there about, PR, permanent residency, that is. And so, approximately 1,900 people per year, Irish people get their PR, but that's in Canada. That's not specifically BC. So it's hard to narrow the figures down at the moment, but the point is that there's a lot of people in BC who have interest in Ireland and Irish, all things Irish. So I think that's a very positive thing. And certainly the growth of, as I said, the growth of the groups, I think has shown that there's a lot of Irish here that maybe are not tracked on this. Okay, that's the website. And so as I mentioned to you, we will have